Morning, folks. Well, I got some different lime. That stuff I had before had gotten rained on in the bucket and it turned hard as a brick, and it wasn't dissolving very well. So I went and got some different lime, and surprisingly enough, these beaver tails are ready to scrape. So, not the most pleasant day in the world. It's pretty cold out here, but that's first on the list today, is scrape the scales off of there. Pretty strange looking, isn't it? They go from being almost a black to this one's a little off-white, more of a yellowish white, but that's what they look like. The pattern, beaver tail pattern, is still there, but the scales are gone. So here's a good one. All the scales are on it. That's the flesh side. Just kind of shoe shine rag it on there. Quite a difference, huh? Well, it's kind of a messy job. These scales are strange. Some of them will come off in a big sheet like that. Others are all just individual scales and things. They're kind of a lot like hair or feathers. They're made out of the same stuff, and I don't know, in between the scales they actually do have little tiny hairs that you can barely even see. But anyway, this is what they look like without the scales on them. That's that one that I tore when I cut it, or skinned it, I mean. But last time I did these, they were more white than this. This time they turned out a little bit more yellow, which is kind of interesting. I don't understand how come. I don't think it hurts anything. But from here, they'll go into a bark tan, and I don't know how much of that I'll actually tell. I mean, I'll show it, but I'm not going to tell you what kind of bark it is. You can figure that out on your own if you are interested in trying it. The guy that has been doing these for many years, that lives in town, his are a lot nicer. He's been doing them for a long time, and it's been a secret for a long time. He won't tell anybody how to do this because he's, of course, selling them and making things out of them. And I don't want to kind of mess that up for him either. So the next step in this is I will take that lime water, pour that on the lawn, and then run these beaver tails under water for a little while, dump out the water several times, and make sure all the lime is out of there. You don't want any left. Do that over probably 2 days. I've got these all washed out, and I put about a half a cup of vinegar in here. Let them sit overnight. They're pretty white now. They got a little bit of brown left on them, but I need to rinse these off. I've rinsed them several times now. Need to rinse them off, and then in here is my bark solution. And I put it in hot water to help it dissolve a little bit more and bring out the tannins. I think I'm going to take these out and switch buckets though, because that one's a little deeper. But sorry to to not tell you 100% on how to do this, but you know, it's kind of like a good fishing hole or a good trapping lure. You don't want to give it away 100%. If you're wanting to do this, what I've showed you so far should get you pretty far along. It's a bark tan, and there's quite a few different types of bark you can use. I got this, it's a powder that I got off of the internet. If you study up on this some, there's lots and lots of info on bark tanning leather. So, sorry, but you'll have to figure it out on your own. Most of it's off. The part toward the tail is really thick, so shaving that down a little bit wouldn't be a bad idea anyway. Cold out here today. You can hear the wind chimes. There's just enough breeze to make this kind of uncomfortable outside. Okay, so in the bigger bucket, I filled the water up to this line I made. I'm going to put the tails in there, and then for the first time I'll take the bark and fill it up to this first ring. So it's only got maybe 1.5 inches of water in there. From what I've been studying up on this, what you want to do is about 1/4. Let's see, that one there needs shaved a little more. You want to put about well, the instructions that on tanning the bigger hides, it said in a 20-gallon batch of water, 15 of it was just straight water, and then the other 5 gallons was the bark mix that was full strength. Okay, so then after about a week or so, then you dump out 5 gallons and you add another 5 gallons of undiluted bark mix. Then in another week, you do it again. You dump out 5 gallons and add 5 gallons more of the undiluted stuff. And you keep doing that until everything looks finished. When you cut the thickest part of your leather, and it's brown all the way, like this one here, it's really thick here. You cut that in half and you look at the inside. When it's brown all the way through, it should be finished. And you should be able to kind of dent it with your fingernail, and it stays that way. So with the tails in there, that brought that all the way up to the ring. So I'm going to dump out a little bit more of the water. It's just straight water right now. Well, that might have been a little too much. So I'm only going to put in just below that ring for the first time, and then in about 3-4 days I'll dump out some and add a little bit more. Then after that I'll take about a quarter of it out when I add more each time. And anyway, like I said, I'm still learning how to do this. The last batch I did turned out pretty good, so I've got some hope that this one will too. I'm learning a little bit more each time I do it. Oh, just a little bit more maybe. Alright, stir that up. And it's still plenty cold out here. It's been getting down to the teens still at night. So to keep this from freezing, I'm going to have to bring it into the house. Cindy wasn't quite as mad as I thought she was going to be when she found them in the bathtub. So they don't have any smell to them. It's really nothing too nasty. As long as the bucket doesn't leak, then I guess it's alright, right? Maybe. So if I dump out about 2 inches of water every week and add 2 inches back of that bucket, there's maybe 4 inches worth in there. So that should probably put it at about 3 weeks, or until this stuff looks like it's done, and then I'll take it out sooner. So anyway, now we wait. Stir that a couple of times a day, or whenever I happen to walk by it, I'll give it a couple of little stirs. So I kind of wanted to thank you guys for your prayers for Hillbilly, and Marlene's the other one. You don't know her. She's not ever been on here before, but she's a friend of ours, and she's having some stomach troubles. She's an older lady that's got Parkinson's disease, and there's something wrong with her stomach. Her innards aren't working. She can't keep anything down, including her medicine, and that has been causing seizures. So that's a lot of fun. And anyway, she's supposed to go in for more testing and whatnot, but she's out of the hospital also. Hillbilly is out of the hospital, and Miss Kitty has been doing updates, so watch their stuff. I know you all do anyway, but keep up your prayers. They're working, man. It's a long recovery, I'm afraid, for both of these folks. And then I got another friend that just found out that she might have cancer of the spleen. So I don't know what your spleen does, but it doesn't sound like a good thing. So it never ends. Kind of a depressing deal. But anyhow, thanks again, guys. See you later.